name is Ushmita, and I'm a counseling psychologist based in Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm also currently walking the dementia journey with a loved one, and I've created this channel called Dear Dementia to assist you, the caregiver, in being able to navigate the symptoms of dementia with your loved one. So, in today's topic, we're going to speak about how to respond to individuals with dementia when they request to go home. As we know, it's not uncommon for an individual with dementia to repeatedly request to go home, regardless of whether this individual has recently moved house or if they've been in the same residence for a number of years. The request to go home may not be a request to go to a physical place. Home often represents a feeling of safety and security. So the request to go home is often triggered by feelings of insecurity, of depression, perhaps even a discomfort or anxiety. Remembering that for our loved ones, the world often feels very chaotic, it's uncertain and unfamiliar. So the request to go home may represent the individual's longing for that sense of familiarity. Home represents a time or place where the individual felt secure and comfortable, a place where they perhaps even felt content or relaxed. It may or may not be an identifiable place. However, when our loved one constantly requests to go home, this may be a sign of possible unmet needs. So, for example, the person may be bored. Perhaps they're in pain or physical discomfort. The person may feel threatened by a change in primary caregiver. Being unable to identify or communicate this unmet need, he or she may only know that there's a desire to feel safe or secure, a desire to be home. So let's look at some of the suggestions in responding to this request to go home. My first suggestion is not to argue with the person or try to convince them that they are at their place of residence. It's also not advisable to convince them that they have moved home and that it's in their best interest that they've moved home. Whether or not this is true, it doesn't help to offer these rational responses to the person with dementia. Offering rational responses tends to be quite ineffective, especially because the person's intellectual reasoning capacity is compromised by the disease. So instead of reasoning, what we can do is to identify and acknowledge the feelings associated with the wish to go home. If the topic does not upset the person, speak to them about their request to go home. Encourage discussion about memories associated with home. What did they enjoy about home? What were their favorite things to do at home? What did they miss about home? And in doing so, you may be able to assist them in uncovering their unmet immediate needs. So the first suggestion would be to avoid speaking to them rationally about not going home or about the fact that they already are in their home, but instead to feel or to acknowledge their unmet needs. Then the second suggestion that I would have is to reminisce with the individual. Keep a photo album at hand, perhaps, or any other pictures or scrapbooks that the individual might have. If the person seems anxious, try encouraging him or her to look through their childhood photos and to speak about earlier life memories. Reminiscence tends to trigger or to bring up pleasant memories and feelings of safety. This may help to calm them down in that moment of distress. Then the third suggestion is to divert attention. So if the request to go home is accompanied by feelings of distress or anxiety for that matter, divert attention away from the topic. Diversions can take a number of forms. So, for instance, you could present your loved one with their favorite food or snack. You can play some calming music that they enjoy, preferably music from the older times where they can remember the lyrics or the tune. Or you could, involve them in some sort of activity that they enjoy doing, some sort of hobby that they enjoy doing, or perhaps just take them for a walk. If they are quite mobile, you might even take them for a drive around the neighborhood, take them for some ice cream. And when they return home, they may recognize this as their home. Then the fourth suggestion is to reassure them of their safety. So the desire to go home is often associated with feelings of fear or uncertainty, especially if the person is in a new environment, such as a nursing facility or a family member's home that they've recently moved into. Reassure the person either verbally or non-verbally by means of hand-holding or touching the arm where appropriate that he or she is safe. Then the next suggestion is to reduce anxiety. So the aim is to reduce a person's sense of discomfort and address feelings of anxiety. It may help to use statements such as, "We'll go home after lunch," or "We'll go home once the bus arrives this afternoon." Although caregivers may feel guilty about the lie, a therapeutic lie may be beneficial in helping your loved one to feel calm and safe. And then lastly, take note of the pattern. So keep a record of the person's request to go home and review this log to identify common factors or common denominators which may be influencing their need to go home. So, for example, the person may be requesting to go home when the environment is too noisy or the environment is too overwhelming. The request might be made when the individual is extremely tired. By keeping a log and by noticing the pattern, we can do something different to assist our loved ones in being able to reduce their anxiety. So these are some of the suggestions which I would use in order to respond to my loved one when he requests to go home. I hope that you found this video useful. If you did, please subscribe to the YouTube Dear Dementia channel, and I'll be posting similar videos to assist you, the caregiver, in your caregiving journey. I wish you all the very best. Goodbye.